Investing in Las Vegas is a no-brainer. Okay.
Hmm.
You've got the Las Vegas Raiders, you've got the Vegas Golden Knights,
Hmm.
you've got the Aces, we got a professional soccer team. Oakland A's are coming.
Yes.
For people that want culture, for people that want a place that's a 24-hour town and can raise a family and still be 45 minutes to Mount Charleston and, 30 minutes to Lake Mead, this is the place to be. It has everything. So investing in Las Vegas is a no-brainer.
All right, today I have a special guest. He went from the service industry to becoming a high-level realtor and investor in the city of Las Vegas. I have my man, Jorge Ramos, on the show today. Jorge, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey Eddie, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. It's crazy how, life has its own journey and somehow we started together. We went our own separate paths and now we're here again. I'm
Absolutely,
excited.
man. How you doing? How's everything going?
Amazing, man. I'm married, got 3 kids,
Okay.
just got a team now, really working hard. Everyone's leveling up. The business is starting to come in. We've had a little calm time there for a little bit because
Uh-huh.
of the high interest rates and everyone was expecting the Fed to lower. Everybody kind of put their purchasing on pause, but
Yeah.
now the holidays, I don't know about you, but December's always been one of my busiest months. You got the really motivated buyers. People are buying a home for the holidays. They want a home before the end of the year. Their tax benefits, so it's really a great time to buy before the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you actually apply for a loan towards the end of the month, you actually get better rates because those lenders out there are trying to, they have funds that they need to borrow out. And if they're holding those funds, then, it makes them look bad to their lenders and investors and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. People are starting to plan vacations. It's just a really great time to move. I believe Redfin and Realtor.com noted as November 11th is historically the best time of the year to buy a home.
Wild.
I think a lot of people put it on pause, but now before
Yeah.
the end of the year, they're really moving right now.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us, for the people who don't know, tell us a little bit about your path in real estate. I mean, you're very successful right now, but it didn't happen overnight, right? It took several years, and I know you're a grinder. You've kicked butt in all areas of the business. How did you get to where you got now?
Well, everyone thinks that, your path to success is working hard and, grinding and just hustling every day. I don't believe it is. I believe you need to get in the right room. You need to surround yourself with like-minded people and people that are driven,
Mhm.
and it's going to inspire you to level up. So my path has been very exciting. I've been able to acquire multiple properties, provide for my family,
Mhm.
and had so much growth for the team. My goal is everyone that's on our team to be successful. When someone comes to our team, Paul and I, we allow them to just move right into the process and know
Mhm.
everything that we do that's gotten us where we're at today.
Yeah, and I see that you're growing as a team. You just added someone new to your team, and I feel like you keep adding more agents below you to, mentor them, and you guys just keep growing. Like, how does that work, man? I mean, from going from solo to what do you got? Like, how many people you got on your team now?
There's 13 of us now, so
13.
we haven't been going out prospecting or trying to recruit or anything like that. I just believe here at Galindo Group Real Estate, being surrounded with like-minded people, the agents and people that are aligning with our goals and what we have to say and what we do, just
Mhm.
naturally come to us and they want to be a part. So
Yeah.
we love the culture, we love the positive energy, and we love being surrounded with like-minded people.
Right on, right on. Do you, being that you have all these, the 13 people on your team, are you like mentoring them? How does that work?
So some people on our team are not really full time or really put in all the
Mhm.
effort. So I believe that the people who are active and in the office and you know thriving to be better every day, those are the people that really get the most value out of being on the team. So, some people have other jobs and other businesses and whatnot, and they
Yeah.
still want to be, tapped into our resources and our team, which is great. Everyone has their own creative formula. Some of us have kids. Some of
Hmm.
us can't be here every day, but the people that do come and put in the effort and get inspired, the growth is contagious.
Yeah.
You're out of sight, out of mind, but if you're here, it really allows you to, get value.
Yeah, I know, getting into the business for those who, are starting out or want to get into it, it's tough, especially, you're not making any money, you're, commission based. You got to put some money out for marketing. You got to go out and, market yourself and all that good stuff. So I know it could be tough. There's a lot of people out there who, have second jobs. Maybe they're married with kids. It's just tough getting that start with a great support system like what you guys got over there. I'm sure the process isn't as long as it would be somewhere else or just going on your own and whatnot.
Yeah, and we've got proven experiences that have helped us, you know, with growth in the past. The fortune is in the follow up. You follow up with these clients.
Right.
You're gonna get them whenever they're ready to make a move. You're gonna help them make one of the biggest decisions in their life, whether it be buy, sell. you
Hmm.
know we're in a relationship business. We're not here to sell the home. We definitely highlight and showcase, but
Hmm.
ultimately the buyer's going to make their own choice, and we're just there to guide them through the process. So
Yeah.
we're here building these relationships. I don't care if somebody's buying a $50,000 piece of land or a $50 million home. They're going to get the same best customer service, and we're just here building relationships, and that's how our business grows.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. That's good. And you're in an interesting market, Las Vegas, Nevada, man. The hustle. When you think you do the lights 24/7, it's crazy how, I was out there, back in 2008 to 2013. And just from what I see today with all the new professional teams, the growth, like it's just wild how fast that city's moving. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, man, Las Vegas, we just finished up F1.
Yeah.
So F1 was huge for the city. It's
Hmm.
crazy. I took my boys there. It's crazy how, they just build this whole track on the Las Vegas Strip with all the lights and, excitement. So many companies, big money comes to Las Vegas, and just, build man-made bridges for the people to get to their hotel room and get to work. Like, this is the third year, and I think they really got it down pat now. The moment the race was over, they started breaking it down.
Mm.
So they've got it down to a science. I'm really excited for next year. I definitely will go again and
Hmm.
see those cars go 200 miles an hour down the Las Vegas Strip. It's crazy, bro. But yes, it really put us on the map. F1 is international sport.
Yeah.
Vegas didn't have any, professional sports teams, or anything like that. And now, I do believe it's one of the hottest places in the world, for sure.
Now, because of all that going on, do you see the migration? Did it grow? Did it get larger for the people who are moving into the state or into that area versus before? Or do you think is it like a little bit less, or how's the outlook on that?
Huge, huge. Investing in Las Vegas is a no-brainer. Okay.
Hmm.
You've got the Las Vegas Raiders, you've got the Vegas Golden Knights,
Hmm.
you've got the Aces, we got a professional soccer team. Oakland A's are coming.
Yes.
For people that want culture, for people that want a place that's a 24-hour town and can raise a family and still be 45 minutes to Mount Charleston and, 30 minutes to Lake Mead, this is the place to be. It has everything. So, investing in Las Vegas is a no-brainer, especially with photography, taking photos of multi-million dollar
Hmm.
homes, taking photos of weddings. You could be taking photos of tacos. There's just so much to do that any type of person in any type of industry would love to plant roots here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Where do you see the most growth in the town? Because there's only so much land, and if I remember correctly, they can't. And you could talk a little bit, this is your expertise, but they can't really expand much even though there's all that desert, right? Like there's certain laws right there, or how does that work? I mean, there's so much
Well,
growth. It just seems like it's, at some point they got to expand out, right?
Well, we're to the mountains in Summerlin. Escaya, they're carving away the mountain. It's insane. Like using dynamite, Oscar de la Hoya, the owner of the Raiders lives up there. Elite celebrities, they're just paying crazy amounts of money for these homes.
Yeah.
Blue Heron, McDonald Highlands, just so much money is being spent and chiseled away to live there. I believe the next thing for the next way this city is going to grow is up.
Uh,
You're not going to have these bigger yards, half
mhm.
acre lot with a 3-car garage, no HOA. It's going to be like a unicorn,
Yeah.
tough to find. Now we're going to start seeing these multifamily high-rise condos.
Mm,
They say the beachfront property in Las Vegas is a
mhm.
view of the Las Vegas Strip.
Ah,
So they're going to continue to build up with views. Convenience. There's a lot of these work, live, play
yeah.
complexes coming in where you've got a gym, you've got restaurants, you got places to work, and you got
Wow.
places to live all in one. So prices continue to go. They say that the Las Vegas market is going to increase, 14% activity in 2026.
Oh, wow.
So I believe that this is like the little quiet before the storm. If you want to get in and get a good property or get something, you better move now.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I moved out in 2013 and I was actually on the fence of staying there and buying a house or even just buying a house to rent out and then move back to California. Um, and I didn't. And I look back and I'm like, damn, I messed up because the value of that home now would have been just so much more than what I would have paid for. I would have, the amount of equity that I would have had in that property, it would have been ridiculous. And I kicked myself in the butt. So I hear that a lot. And I think you're absolutely spot on when you say that. And yeah, if someone out there is looking to get into the market, definitely put both feet in as soon as possible and contact someone like Jorge Ramos. And, I think it's a great investment, great opportunity with all the growth and everything that's going on in Las Vegas. It's just, there's like so much to be excited about and to be happy. Obviously, there's no state taxes, right? There's so much work out there as far as the union jobs and there's construction because they're building a lot. There's just a place for everybody. So what are your thoughts? There's talk about a new mortgage loan coming out, that 50-year term, and I've been seeing a lot of like good and bad, but mostly bad, a lot of bad talk, so to speak. And I look at it, I'm like, okay, well, there's good and bad to everything that comes out. What are your thoughts on that new program that's potentially coming out here real soon if it's not out already?
Embrace it. I love change. So,
Yeah.
this is going to create an opportunity for you or investors to get more cash flow, use better leverage,
Yeah.
and grow their portfolio. So, I believe it's a no-brainer. I know a lot of investors that are on, interest-only loans or seller finance. They just want to get a hold of this property. Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and today,
Mhm.
you've got to, start paying yourself now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm in escrow on my second property. I'm gonna fix it up and rent it out. And when this program came out, I was like, this is absolutely game changer for someone like myself. I'm not paying the mortgage off, my renters are, right?
Yeah.
And if you're someone who's maybe a first time buyer, that $300 savings or whatever it may be is just enough to get you into a home and stop being a renter. Why not do it? I think it's another tool in the toolbox. It could be bad in some cases. I don't think there's going to be a big wave of that type of borrower getting that type of loan to make the market move or move the needle in the market that much, but it's an option.
Yeah, well, there's two types of people, there's the type of person that wants to buy a home, live in it,
Hmm.
work a great job, 9 to 5, and then just continue to pay off their home until they have zero debt and then start vacationing, when they get older and whatnot. I'm the different type of person,
Yeah.
I want to scale. buy, borrow, die. So if you have a different mindset on it, you can just continue to uh, acquire properties, scale your real estate portfolio. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you have equity in the home or you see a good opportunity, you can, start 1031ing and
Mm-hmm.
take some of that equity and buy some more properties. They say the key to a good portfolio is to continue to buy gems. If you buy
Yeah.
great properties, I've heard our broker Josh Galindo, he says anytime he goes to buy a flip or an investment property, he wants something that he can buy that nobody can replicate. There's something
Mm.
very unique about that property, whether it's across the street from a park, has unobstructed views of the Las Vegas Strip, a den that can be converted into a third bedroom. There's so many ways to value add in real estate
Mm-hmm.
that the normal eye is not, taking a look at.
Absolutely.
Us being very experienced, our team being very experienced, everyone in this office, there's so many ways to value add when buying and just, make so much money. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of value add opportunities. I mean, a 30-year loan is great, 40-year loan is great, 50-year loan, whatever it is, it's great. But most people are gonna do either a cash out refi or some type of refi within the first 10 to 15 years, or even sell the property within that period. Why not go for the lower payment? Why not go for something you could do a value add where you could create that value in renovations, additions like ADUs, whatever it may be. I think the value add opportunity is the best way to go, whether you're an investor or not. Mom and pops, you got kids, blue collar, whatever it may be. Add value to that property and maybe turn around and sell it or move into another home, rent that piece of property out and just let it grow. Because at the end of the day, what is equity? You can't touch it unless you sell it or refinance, right? So if you're comfortable with
Exactly.
the mortgage payment, if you're comfortable with that payment, then just keep doing what you're doing and finding more opportunities.
Absolutely. You've got, principal pay down, the tax benefits,
Hey,
leverage, and then appreciation. You have so many opportunities to grow when you have these properties, as opposed to, someone that thinks, oh, well, I'm just going to rent and then I'm going to build my portfolio through the stock market. The
mhm.
stock market is great, that everyone has, their own strategy, but I believe that 99% of all millionaires in this world did it somehow through some form of real estate. So I really love being in the real estate space.
Mhm.
And I believe that that is one of the best ways for a family to build generational wealth time and time again.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, before we go, can you share a few seller and buyer tips with the people? Someone out there maybe looking to get into the market the first time, or someone who's had a property and they're thinking about selling and moving into maybe something larger or whatnot.
I'm going to give you my number one seller tip right now. When you put your home on the market, you want the very first time that the buyer walks in to look at your home, you want him to think that nobody lives there. You want him to think that it's professionally staged, and you want them to be able to visually move in,
Mm.
and that's going to create that magical moment that'll get them to write a check today.
I like that. Visually move in, because that's the first thing you do when you walk into a home, when you're walking through or seeing it online, doing that 3D tour. You're visualizing what you could utilize that space for and how you could live your next 5, 10, 15, 20 years or so, right? And then what about buyer tip?
Money moves fast. You got to move as fast as possible. So when you find the property that you want, it's a race to get that thing in
Mm.
contract as soon as possible, because you never know how many times I've been sitting at the table where the agent that I was working with was writing an offer or trying to lock up the property that we wanted.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden it was gone. Everyone thinks this home's been on the market 90 days, 180 days, nothing's going to happen. You never know. There could be someone writing an offer on that property right now. So, I drive a Cybertruck. I've even talked about putting a printer in there, but, that's my mobile office. If I show a client and they're like in love and they want that property, I don't even leave the property. I'll just, pull up down the street, park, pull out my laptop and fire away.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you on that one as well. You know, money moves fast. You know, be ready because I feel like the market's shifting. And you never know, you might be getting 5, 10 offers on a property, and you want to be the first one in line, and you want to be able to get that and snag that as soon as possible, because it's hard to find something that you really like and you really envision yourself being there for 5, 10 years. I mean, you're not renting anymore, right? So you can't just move. And if it's something that your gut instincts tell you that this is the one, you got to make a move fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Buy what makes sense,
All right, man. Well, hey, listen, I really appreciate you coming on here. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy guy. Is there anything that you want to leave with before we go? Anything you want to say before we go?
Well, you're in the photography space,
Mm-hmm.
and there is, not all photographers are the same, and not
Mm-hmm.
all agents are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take photos or you're listing a property, you only want the very best to be seen. So, you can't interrupt the buyer's viewing experience. My broker Josh, he always says when he lists a property, you know, that you don't want anyone to interrupt the buyer experience. So from the moment they walk up or the moment they start viewing that home, you want them to fall in love and only show the very best until the
Mm-hmm.
end, and you'll be.
That's awesome. I love it. I appreciate it, man. Once again, man, this is Jorge Ramos. Thank you for being on. Appreciate your time, brother, and best of luck in 2026. I know it's going to be a great year, and happy holidays to everybody. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Thank you guys.